things that stuck out about the NFL draft is just what a big recruiting advantage you can get from it. Now, I usually take the tact of looking at the NFL from the position of recruiting because, well, that's what I really like about all this stuff. Once they get to the NFL and they make millions of dollars, I become less enthusiastic about it. But that said, watching LSU get 14 players drafted for tied for the most, well, ever in the 7 rounds of the NFL draft dating back to 1994 also gave me some pause, right? Because I'm going, wait a second, that's the most since 1994 when the NFL went to its 7-round format. But we have seen 17 players get drafted from the University of Texas in 1984. But what they have in common with LSU is not so much the wins-loss records, just they have 3 more guys that were drafted from that 84 squad. But in the Southwest Conference, they go 7-4 and 5-3, which is garbage, right? But then again, you look at Texas Christian, who had as many players drafted, 5, as they had wins all last season. 5. They go 5-7. Just goes to show that you don't necessarily have to go to a blue blood or even the best team in college football to be drafted among the best. Now, that is not to say that going to Ohio State, Oklahoma, Alabama, or LSU hurts your chances anymore either, because Ohio State had double-digit guys drafted. Alabama had 9. But also you saw Michigan had a bunch of guys get drafted. But then you look at 5-star and 4-star guys, and they make up 66% of the folks who were drafted in the first round. But it's not as if we didn't see those guys fall. Matter of fact, Donovan Peoples-Jones, coming out of Michigan, 5-star wide receiver, gets drafted in the 7th round. It's not really a good look. And we see the NFL does not really care where you went to school, although it seems that they do, right? Because if you look at the Las Vegas Raiders, they made a point of drafting from not just blue blood teams, but from the best college football teams. A.J. Terrell went to Clemson. Henry Ruggs went to Alabama, right? Cleveland drafts Grant Delpit out of LSU, right? And they move up and they take an Alabama tackle, Jedrick Wills, Jedrick Wills, who was the right tackle for Alabama because their quarterback was left-handed, and that guy got drafted by Miami. And then Miami ends up drafting Austin Jackson, which didn't seem like the move. Seemed like you might have used that pick to trade up to go to get Tristan Wirfs, who's going to be blocking for Tom Brady, and on it goes. But what I thought was most interesting about this is when you look at what folks like Kirby Smart were saying, which is that the SEC is being negatively recruited against because, people don't want to play against them. Like, it's harder to go to school there. I don't think that's true at all. As a matter of fact, I would like to see Oklahoma, Oregon, and the like take on the SEC in a meaningful way. But when you have 40 guys from that conference drafted in the first 3 rounds, you can understand why it's really difficult for the rest of college football to compete. As a matter of fact, just looking at the states where we saw the most kids drafted who were, going through 4 years of college football, it's really the South. Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, and Louisiana account for 105 of the 255 guys that end up signing contracts yesterday or getting drafted, right? 224 draft picks. Doing all the math all the way down to Mr. Irrelevant. You can understand why many kiddos pick an LSU, pick a Georgia, pick an Alabama, or even an Ole Miss or Mississippi State. Because those teams continue to put players into the league. And when I asked a bunch of recruits, about a dozen, what they thought of the draft, they told me one of 2 things. Either they made the right decision because some of them are 5- and 4-star kids that are committed to the likes of Oklahoma, Louisiana State, or Ohio State or Alabama, or that it's nice to see that you can go to, say, Minnesota and still get a shot. As a matter of fact, Minnesota sits at number 5 in the 247 Sports Team Composite rankings right now with 13 commits. Who would have seen Minnesota ever being ranked inside the top 5? But because this year is so weird, and we basically had a 3-month-long dead period, you've seen that the coaches that are better at using social media and using the phones have been really good about getting kids in the boat. As for Ohio State, the rich continue to get richer. They picked up 2 2022 commits over the course of last week, their first 2 in the boat. And they get to point at this thing called the NFL draft where they have had more players get selected than any other team in the history of the NFL, right? 3 more than USC. Meanwhile, you get to see the likes of Iowa State is watching their guys and also being able to recruit. You're seeing all over Group of 5, kids are actually taking a look at Appalachian State, who had a couple of guys. get drafted. They're taking a look at some of these smaller schools. And then you can look at other places where you might have perhaps one of the best quarterbacks that I've seen out of a smaller school in North Texas, Mason Fine, just continue to go without being signed. And that's bonkers to me. But you can also see a kid who didn't get a whole lot of opportunities to catch a football, but certainly worked his way into the conversation in Dalton Keene out of Va Tech being the 4th-round selection by the New England Patriots, as they have lost Rob Gronkowski, and they're probably going to look to fill that position with somebody that can catch some passes. I'm really high on that pick, and I think that was really, well, a keen observation by Bill Belichick, but what else is new? Getting back to LSU, 17 guys selected in this draft means you're probably going to be pretty trash this year. I mean, I've been saying that, but when they win just 8-7 games next year, remember, it's because they have a bunch of guys that were drafted. All 14 of them were really good. And that's not even including the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award winner, Grant Delpit, who was drafted in the later rounds. Well, later rounds being second. And then you see things like the Philadelphia Eagles drafting Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round. But also what they did was basically put Oklahoma in the driver's seat at the number 1 spot of QBU. Right? In the way that Ohio State is DBU. Ohio State has seen 7 defensive backs drafted in the 1st round since 2016 alone. Right? The next closest is Florida with 3. And C.J. Henderson went to the Jacksonville Jaguars in the 1st round, right? Now, you get with Oklahoma, for the first time since the draft has been held in 1967, you see 3 consecutive quarterbacks from the same university drafted in 3 successive drafts in the first 2 rounds, right? Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts. Not a bad look for Lincoln Riley, who's looking to sew up 5-star quarterback Caleb Williams after losing Brock Vandagriff in basically what I'm calling a flip commitment, because he decommits on January 1st and about 2 weeks later commits to Georgia. You get to show this stuff, right? And Jalen Hurts is far and away the worst of the 3, and yet Philly thought he was good enough to take him with the 53rd overall pick to be their Nick Foles. Now, I think it's funny that Howie Roseman compared Jalen Hurts to Nick Foles, because Nick Foles came off the bench to win a Super Bowl, and Jalen Hurts got sat on the bench so that Tua Tagovailoa could win a national championship. It's kind of the inverse there, Howie, and I need you to really take a look at that. Plus, you also went and drafted Jalen Reagor when you probably could have got Jalen Reagor in the 3rd round or Devin Duvernay to do the same thing, and I would use that pick on, say, a linebacker like Patrick Queen, for instance. But that's just me. Also add in there, Oklahoma is the first, university since 1994 when the draft became a thing in 7 rounds to see quarterbacks drafted in 3 successive, right? First time that's ever happened. And there's a reason as to why that is true. Usually quarterbacks play 2-3 years, and then they get drafted, and you raise another one up 2-3 years, and that guy gets drafted. Oklahoma had the unique opportunity to bring in a Baker Mayfield as a transfer, a Kyler Murray as a transfer, and then Jalen Hurts as a grad transfer. So that's one reason as to why the deck was kind of stacked there. But then again, if you're Lincoln Riley, you're working with what you got, and what you got is really good, okay? Because it's not as if there weren't better quarterbacks that got drafted this year. Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, 2 dudes that I wasn't very high on, got drafted in the 1st round along with Tua Tagovailoa and Joe Burrow. The argument, though, of going to the SEC to play your college football as the best way to get drafted is there, right? And if you're Ohio State, you get to say, if you're good enough to start, you're good enough to get drafted. Because J.K. Dobbins, Malik Harrison, Jonah Jackson, Jeff Okudah, Chase Young, Damon Arnett, all guys that got drafted, right? Next year, we expect to see much of the same from that university. And that's really what you have to sell if you are a recruiter or an assistant coach. If you can achieve, say, starting wide receiver at Oklahoma, you're probably going to get drafted in the 1st round. Dennis Simmons has had an outstanding run with D.D. Westbrook, Hollywood Brown, and now, yes, CeeDee Lamb going to my Dallas Cowboys. I think this is an awesome look for all the teams at the top, but also Texas Christian is quarterback away, or so it seems, or an offensive guru away, or so it seems, because every year Gary Patterson manages to put a 1st-round talent in there, whether it was Jalen Reagor this year or L.J. Collier the year before or Ben Banigou in the 2nd round. There's no reason as to why a Texas Christian should be there every year with 1st-round talent, yet that's what Gary Patterson can just do. Meanwhile, Texas has 3 draft picks, none of which happened before the 3rd round. And I don't know how Colin Johnson gets drafted and L.A. Humphrey didn't last year, But that's what Texas is doing. Not a whole lot, right? And they've also been sliding down this recruiting ladder in a way that, frankly, we haven't seen before, but seems to be fitting finally with the record that they've been producing over the last 10 years. Going to be interesting to see if they can bounce back from all of this stuff. Meanwhile, Iowa State ranks ahead of LSU in the recruiting rankings. I don't expect that to stay, but you got to say it now. And if you look at the rankings today, and you look at the top 5, you'd be a little miffed. You have Ohio State, Clemson. Cool. No, excuse me, Ohio State, North Carolina. Then Clemson, right? Then you're talking about Florida. Then you're talking about Minnesota. Those are your top 5 right now. Will it look that way in December? I doubt it. But with the draft coming to an end, and me knocking my glasses on the floor, I thought this was an interesting topic to tackle. Now, hard left turn to, well, whatever the hell it is we want to talk about here with the Brunch group. I'm going to go ahead and put myself on mute, put my headphones in, and I'm going to pick up my glasses. Ron, you doing okay?
No.
Babe, you alright?
Yeah,
I'm
doing
here.
Great.
Yeah, man.
Stimulating
Slow back there.
topics that you brought up concerning current events. I was riveted, and you know what? You're right. Completely, fully. Glad that somebody was brave enough to bring it up.
In the words of Steve Carell as Donald Rumsfeld, that's the yes I was looking for.
The world's got to say these brave things. Brave. Valorous things that you say. Glad you got the backbone to do it. No, I'm doing fine. I mean, I feel like that's been my mood for the past since the beginning of the year. Actually, I say rolling into 2020 because it's not as if 2019 ever really stopped. So yeah, I'm fine, right? I got 4 walls, got this cup of coffee, got y'all, and at least tens of people listening to us. So like, I feel famous.
Tyler, Kate, you guys okay?
Oh yeah, they're doing just fine.
Bueller.
Yeah, we're doing all right over here.
Are you playing Fortnite?
Me, Kate?
Me?
No, I'm not. Kate, maybe.
No, I'm playing Animal Crossing. I have a review to write.
My screen cut off. I didn't realize it. All right, Katie.
Katie, have you made it through Keyshot?
I have not. I've been on an intense short fiction kick, and I am moving very slowly through this very dense novel.
Okay.
What else is taking up your time? Not to say that you should be more productive or anything, but just like, how are you using it up that you're crawling through this book slowly?
In this order: teaching, writing my own projects, reading other short stories, watching The Wire. Yeah, that's the order.
How far into the wire are you so far?
Where are we?
We're midway through season 4.
Oh, okay, cool. So you got through you're into the good parts. They're all the good parts.
The beginning.
Season 1 was amazing.
Absolutely it was. So now, have you? This is the first time you're
Long
watching
live
it, right?
Snot Boogie.
Yes, I have never watched it before, so please no spoilers.
Oh. Now do you? I mean, I guess the memes died off, but it's like, have you seen The Wire? It's so good. It might be the best show on TV. Are you getting those vibes yet? Are you seeing why people are saying that?
I think that there's a lot of things that are really satisfying about it, which I think is part of the reason that people are so into it. I don't know if it's like the best show ever, so I find it hard to just like rank, across the board, this is the best thing I've ever seen. But I think that I think it's well done in terms of creating characters that really have a lot of depth. Like, every single character, there's something that you really love about them and something that you absolutely despise about them, and it's across the board with every single person they create. I think that's a really powerful way to make a show. It makes these people really holistic, and they have a lot of depth that you don't see a lot with TV dramas like this.
Just like in real life.
So it's just like real life.
Yeah, in that way.
Well, I think it offers layers that, regular cop politics, organized crime shows don't offer. And so we feel like we get the glimpse into the personalities that make everything work behind the scenes, and at least that's what I got out of it. I fancied myself more like an insider.
I think the Wire. I mean, now okay, it's the Wirecast now. So for me, the Wire was the.
Need Van Latham and Jamel Hill to shut up.
I was about to say, like, this is I might revisit it because of the podcast. That's the only reason I watch stuff is to listen to more podcasts. But the Wire was the first, I think, pretty much the first sweeping epic that I ever watched. Like, whenever Game of Thrones came out, the show that it reminded me most of was The Wire, where you have 100 different characters that you can all name, and they're all moving their own separate directions. And I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I missed from television, was The Wire. And the fact that you could just, even the big characters are all so well realized, and the points that they get to, I say the point of their stories, I'm like, oh wow, that's gonna stick with me forever. Also, when I know that I'm in need of a haircut, it's like, dang, I'm looking like Cuddy right now. Out here trying to reach these kids.
It was amazing in Walking Dead.
You said The Walking Dead's like that too?
Well, no, Cuddy was amazing in Walking Dead.
Oh yeah, he is. It's a shame that show has a black person quota, or had one at the very least.
There's a lot of overlap in casting.
Yeah, it's because everybody in that show's great. I almost feel like because there was things like, oh, this person from The Wire, right? And that's Senator Clay Davis. There's Bunk. But that show also had 10 million people, so of course they all went to work someplace else. My favorite thing was to watch everything that Marlo Stanfield was in. I'm trying to convince myself that, oh, this dude's the greatest actor of the generation. Just give him a chance. Did you see him in The Wire?
My name is my name.
I wanted to see Snoop in something else, though.
Same. I think they were in something else. Wasn't very big though. I think they were like just another knockaround. Actually,
Is that
research. I can do it.
is that the preferred pronoun? They? Are you being gender normative
No idea.
respectful?
Oh, I try to be, but that's just how I talk.
Got it.
No idea.
Yeah, I didn't know if the actor was a trans individual, and that's why you were saying they. RJ, this is something you would know.
Mm-hmm. My Wire knowledge left me 5 years ago.
I was about to say, after everybody that you ever cared about watched the show, it's like, well, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Mm-hmm.
We know we're late to the party. No time like a pandemic to catch up though.
Ooh, the whole phone thing just messes with you. Can't wait for y'all to get to season 5.
I'm enjoying the teacher in season 4 personally.
That is my favorite season.
Press Beluski!
Prez, but like talk about a journey.
Presbo.
Hey, I'm just here for the Baltimore Sun scenes. Get your finger out of my eye! We're writing lies about opening day children in wheelchairs, winning Pulitzers for
Guys,
it.
this could be a little bit more Dickensian, right? Can you throw a little bit of Charles Dickens in it?
Man. The Dickensian aspect. Never hated a publisher
I don't
so
want to ruin it
much.
for you. I have no idea when that pops up, so I'm done. I'm glad you joined the Wire. You can join the cult.
No, I can't wait for this hard left turn into the second season, where they're gonna be like, "What is this?"
They said they're on season 4.
Yeah, well, it comes back. Sabak shows up in season 4.
Spoilers.
I've stopped talking about it. Can't. If you had to go on a revenge tour, it's not me.
Hey man, look, I'm just here for Brother Muzon. What? How's it going? Yo man, some of y'all in this chat asking questions about videos that I made. Just go through the catalog. Just go through the recents. Seriously. I'm not remaking the same videos.
I mean, Artie, you're a content creator. You got to give people what they want. That's your job.
Maybe you should
Have-
just remake your channel
have
and
to.
recast yourself. You know, do a full reboot.
That's a 1 million subscriber move, and ain't a million subscribers.
Yeah.
God, YouTube sucks.
Oh.
No. Like, somebody builds a channel to 1 million subs, and then says on that channel, "Hey, this channel is no longer the thing that it was." What? Just make another channel. Tell everybody to subscribe to that one.
I mean, to be fair, how much work could it be to start another channel and have it be successful?
Said by a person who has not actually tried that. Oh yeah.
RJ, are you gonna create an alter ego?
Do what?
Are you gonna create an alter ego?
Nah, that's too much work.
I have to know that my channel is a whole lot older than yours.
My channel was established in 2006. Lay dormant for 11 years.
Saying I'm out here putting in the work. You were just. Ooh.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's hard when you can't use the.
Go ahead.
It's very hard when you can't use the words you want to use.
Shame.
We're trying to demonetize your channel. I tell you what.
You gonna try to kind of get me on the limited ads at a time when there are no ads.
That's how you want to play. Let's do it.
Are we approaching an era where demonetizing someone's YouTube channel is kind of like trying to storm the gates of their castle?
No, that's just straight up ransoming it.
I think this is a coal miners versus the coal company situation in the company store. What do you mean you're gonna demonetize my ads in the company store? I need those ads. Too bad they're owned by somebody else.
Nah, Steve-O, I can't fix the audio. You can leave. Today, this is what you get.
See previous comment about audio.
I'm just, y'all will watch the Zoom stuff of the ESPNers and their trash. You can get this.
I mean, yeah.
You know what? I'm on your side. If you don't like it, get out.
What's wrong with the audio?
You would never want to hear in the first place. If you don't like this audio. I say we. That's right. I was a part of it. We made it to 40K. This brunch group, us, alone, by ourselves.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't live with this
army.
quality of sound from you, RJ. I'm gonna have to unsubscribe.
That black button works too, Kate.
I don't even joke about that.
I'm not even shy about it. I don't even tell anybody anymore. They just disappear.
I mean, yeah.
Would you give them an even bigger discount?
So I had some football news
it's
to make it into my sphere of
the little Lena, tell Cersei of me, block.
Was Tyler talking to us? Or trying to?
Yes, he is.
At least I'm trying to. I'm not sure how well it's working, but yeah, I had a little bit of football news cross my desk. I wanted to see what you all thought about it because I refused to actually look at the first-hand stuff. But ESPN was catching a lot of flack for putting life tragedies into the just spiked up the bios to players.
What was the point of that?
They were trying to do what Ron suggested, add a little Charles Dickens flavor.
That's right. You had to examine the Dickensian aspect of it.
All right,
Man,
so
if it bleeds,
Ian
it
was doing,
leads.
yeah.
I'm never gonna get that word on the first go.
So what had happened was, among others, T. Higgins, LaVisca Chenault, dudes who might not have had father figures in the traditional sense, whose moms went through hell to get them where they are, were put out as human interest pieces. And wouldn't you know it, privileged white folks ain't the best at doing that. So Trey Wingo's out
Never
here,
thought.
right? Is just so LaVisca Chenault grew out his hair after his dad died, hadn't cut it. The basketball team asked him in high school to cut his hair. He said, "I'll quit playing basketball." And by all accounts, he's a better basketball player than wide receiver, and he's a really good wide receiver. And that was one of the ways in which they decided to talk about his mom and many relationships she had been through on the way to him being drafted. And they decided to talk about T. Higgins and his mom and abuse, and not in a good way, and really try to turn him into a charity case and turn his mom into anything but able to take care of herself. So just bad look all the way around.
See, anybody that's familiar with College Game Day is familiar with the draft. I'm convinced that the producers of that program hate college football fans, or at least have a tremendous contempt for the people that are there live, because they will always put in a human interest story that is, at first glance, kind of sad, but on a deep dive, profoundly sad, and it acts as a cooler to the excitement of, hey, I'm watching this game because it's entertainment. Why are you giving me this? To be fair, this also works for the home makeovers and whatever stuff like that. Okay. This family has a sob story. Watch, this is why you should care. But my favorite example of this was many years back. It was Florida State at Miami, and it was the crowd is just they're killing the hosts. They're being rowdy, and all of a sudden on the board comes the Bobby Bowden's grandson. It's really sad. It happened this week or a couple weeks prior, and you took every ounce of air out of that crowd that was behind it. And I'm sure that if Twitter was really popping like it was right now, we would have this same argument. Can you believe that they mined this bit of material? Who thought that this would be a good added content filler? Where we talk about dead children. Not to say that dead children don't require any content coverage, but I came here for a game, and at the very least, the draft is one big slot machine, giving you numbers and sound all day. Please let me enjoy that.
Or at least spice it up with their Fortnite stories.
I'll take a Fortnite story. Tell me the time that somebody won a battle royale, like a team royale, squad royale, 1v4. That happened to us, by the way. I would love to hear that draft story. Hit me with that. Please don't hit me with did you know that culture might be particularly exploitative to minority groups? I don't need that. Please stop. I read the Atlantic. I got New York Times. Occasionally the New York Post, whenever it's not in the hands of Satan, gives me a good article. I don't need it.
Now the media critic at the New York Post, Andrew Martian, is really good. The Atlantic is real hit or miss. George Packer does a good job. McKay Cobbins when he's not writing about himself. Goldberg, Jeffrey, sometimes. The only one that hits 1,000 is the New Yorker. That and The Economist. And The Economist doesn't give bylines, which I kind of hate. By the way, that is the birthday present that I need. A digital and print subscription to The Economist.
Writing that down. Cool. You can expect
Shout out to Hollywood Brown, who won the ESPN Madden Celebrity Tournament. Beat Snoop like he stole something.
That's a trophy that I would proudly display.
Oh yeah. But then you look like, all right, I should probably upload on this, but the field is Cam Jordan, Chris Weidman, Daniel Cormier, DeAndre Hopkins, Drew Lock, Katie Nolan, man, Lil Yachty, Hollywood Brown, Melvin Gordon, Omar Raja, Omar, House of Highlights Omar, Pat McAfee, Snoop, Stephon Diggs, Travis Kelce, and YG. I feel like that's 3 real Madden players and a bunch of scrubs.
I don't know, I guess when it comes to Madden, right?
Mm.
Madden,
Mm-hmm.
anybody could be an all-star. Can't judge.
We
Oh,
still need to play Madden. It still needs to happen.
I mean, I own Madden. I will own Madden. I continue to play Madden. It's like the only game I play on PS4. That and the show. Mm-hmm. Anybody want to get to work, they can get to work. Gamer tag is the same. The one that still irks Ron that I got. Also managed to get that on Switch. Don't ask me how. Okay. Let's see. Is this crisis changing you for the better? And does change have to happen individually before it can happen systemically, globally? Do we expect more from our leaders than we can ask of ourselves? I think the answer to your last question, babe, is yes.
The question was, is the crisis, is it changing you for the better? And it goes with the Andrew Cuomo video clip where he's talking about his son and his daughters. He has 3 kids who are grown, and he's talking about his mom and the importance of relationships, that it's so easy to neglect because we're busy and we're having all these things that we have to do, quote unquote. But now he's just not going to do it anymore. And a lot of that is about personal liberty, right? Like, a lot of us don't have that. If we have to work 50, 60 hours a week to put food on the table, but this quarantine gave people downtime. And the people who have maximized on that to deepen their connections with their family have benefited. So that's what the question was supposed to get to. I didn't know you were going to just throw it out there like that, but that's fine. Hmm.
But long term, probably a good thing because when you really know somebody. But so like short term wise, like maybe go for the better. But thank you for the additional context on what I was talking about.
All right, hand check. What's in your hands?
Pencil and eraser.
Katie, what's in your hands? Noam, what's in your hands? Ron, Southern Comfort?
Coconut Kraken and a couple of Cafe Du Monde. Also blue plastic straw because
When did that become a thing? The plastic straw controversy?
When the YouTube video got posted of the sea turtle that had a straw embedded all the way up his nose that they needed pliers to pull it out, and then it started to bleed, and the sea turtle was like squinting his eyes because it hurt him so bad, and the world mourned.
it's tough. Yeah, it's a tough out for my guy out there. Wow. Plastic straw in his nose.
It was horrible.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get the sound of the drinks. This is some white pepper Bloody Mary mix and an amber ale. That's hitting off close to an IPA. There we go.
Delicious.
Can you taste that over, everybody?
I think I can. It's very great. I think that whole plastic straw. Like, I'm zero research. This is just me remembering Twitter trends. There's a big old trash island out there made of plastics and styrofoam and whatever, and just a big old thing a single use item that we use all the time is plastic and straw. So it's like, hey, if we can make, I don't know, even a half step forward. Plastic straws? Let's get it.
Right. It's like, we can't stop other countries from chucking out significantly more cigarette butts than we chuck out plastic straws. We can't stop them from doing that. So maybe we try to stop ourselves from doing plastic straws. Get a habit going. Baby steps.
Oh yeah, actually that's what hand-rolled cigarettes. Let's make that have a comeback.
Oh, there we go.
Get rid of all these filters out there. That's the thing that started the camp. I say that's the thing that started the campfire. I don't know, but I get. You know what? I take it back. I don't know if cigarette butts would have stopped that one, but anyway, would have been better for the environment, regardless.
Right. Regardless of whether or not it stopped the campfire.
I was about to say who could know, but at the very least,
I think
there would be less plastic out there.
I think the utility company could know, but we'll find out in the lawsuit. But yeah, the hand-rolled cigarettes, that'll cut down on the speed in which somebody smokes, right? Because they have to spend that much more time assembling it first before finally attacking it. Yeah, that's what'll happen. Don't smoke, everybody. But if you're going to, hand-rolled cigarettes so you don't throw cigarette butts out into the ocean. Save the turtles.
I'm gonna say go ahead and smoke, but get rid of all those additives. You don't need any fiberglass or fillers in your leaf of choice. Go natural. Except if it's like in vape form, then all chemicals. Go full 100% chemical. Avoid that popcorn lung if you can. These days, it would be a bad idea to get that.
Yeah. Everybody, do just whatever you need to avoid going to the hospital, whatever that is. General life. Wow, can't words today.
No, you're good. You got that michelada or whatever you got.
I do have that.
That is a thing that I've been thinking about because I've been a workplace tough guy. Oh, I don't feel too bad. Or I feel kind of terrible. I'm going to work, and I've had to fight that. But now I've swung it too far in the other direction. It's like, oh man, my body hurts, or this joint issue that I've had for a while is getting progressively worse. Should I go to the doctor and get this checked out? No, that means I'd have to go to the doctor's office.
Yeah, that's true. All things in moderation. Avoidance in moderation.
Right. You have to not take care of yourselves. You have to not take care of yourself in baby steps. Don't go the full way. Is everybody performing self-care in a good and healthy way right now?
I did style my hair, even though I'm not going out today.
No, that's for Friday.
Is Friday the day that everything's reopening around here?
It is.
Yeah.
Not everything. No bars. Just restaurants with bars in them.
Oh yeah, that's a good. So we can all go to Kilkenny's though, right?
Yeah, man.
I'm not open on Fridays.
McNally's.
I'm not open on Fridays.
Shout out to local business. Get your takeout. But I guess if we're gonna be open, I guess we could catch up on the St. Patrick's Day that we didn't have.
Oh goodness.
All right, what is it with this group and its love for St. Patrick's Day?
Okay. No, I'm not gonna go first on this one.
Strong assumption.
Alcoholism?
Strong assumption? Really? We went to El Guapo last year, and I was accosted.
I have missed very many St. Patrick's Days because I just didn't care.
Same.
Yeah, I will say that I honestly forget about St. Patrick's Day until I see people walking around the green.
Now, I was gifted a shirt by an old boss of mine who gave it to me because the person she gave it to didn't take it when they quit. So, like, it was given to me, and so I do have to show it off on St. Patrick's Day now that I have it. But, I mean, really, that's about it. I mean, we got plenty of holidays that we have destroyed just for the sake of being able to drink. I just don't care about them much.
So my brunch group is full of heathens who care nothing about God nor country. St. Patrick's Day to me represents just another day of the year that is a prime time ethnic or nationalistic drinking holiday, and you got to hold those tightly whenever you can, that you can go out there and see people rock a flag and also drink as much of a particular style of drink as possible. I don't mean to sound like alcoholic. I enjoy all things in moderation,
Including moderation.
Exactly. I moderate. I am a moderate. Centrist, if you will. But the St. Patrick's Day, Oktoberfest, Cinco de Mayo, 4th of July, and also Memorial Day. And you know what? Because I like being festive, like New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, Juneteenth. I think that these are all very appropriate days to go out there with some people, pull up a particular drink of choice, and make it. Oh, Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras is a perfect example. Not this year, because New Orleans may have messed it up for the
Nothing this year is a good example.
Yeah, this year is probably a bad example. I feel like I remember whenever everything was kicking off, I was like, oh, this is the least opportune time of the year for it to happen. It's like, you got New Year's. You got the New Year's, and then St. Patrick's Day is coming up, and there's Mardi Gras, and Carnival. Carnival. Of course you want to get out there with Carnival. But then I realized, like, that's the entire year. Every month and a half is a national and or ethnic drinking holiday, and you definitely want to get in on it. St. Patrick's Day is just another one on the schedule. Enjoy.
Otherwise, you're not going to get your full variety, right? If you're going to pull up a particular style every time,
right?
Like,
If
you need to get all of the holidays in.
I mean, a year is a long time.
You mean like
gotta
Flag
get 'em in.
Day?
What was that?
When you said all the holidays, I was like, what about Flag Day?
New one. Going to write that on the calendar.
Boxing Day.
I'd say anything that you get off of school or bank closes, you can have that. So like Martin Luther King Day, go ahead, go out there, get yourself a daiquiri.
Did you say a daiquiri?
I surely did. President's Day, go out there and
I
kill
wonder
it.
what Martin Luther King Jr.'s favorite drink was.
Ooh, I almost said something cancel worthy. a nice talk
Almost
about
got
it.
it demonetized. Remember, no demonetized.
Yeah, no,
What were you gonna say?
I'll text it to you.
Okay.
And you are not to read it out loud while Mike's hot.
Wait to the post podcast offline.
Yeah, RJ Young after hours.
There you
Yeah,
go.
the brunch after dark.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna send that just yet. I'm gonna send that
Why
out
not?
in a staggered release.
Just one word at a time.
Because I worry too much about I'm in my own head a lot. I'm like, oh, these are my friends, right? They'll get it. Then it's like, what if I alienate even one friend? What if I turn off even one person? My life is ruined.
It's like, oh, we didn't know that line was there. Never. That's gone forever.
Yeah. Not trying to do that to me, because I'm the only person that matters.
Right. I mean, we covered Catholicism last week, so that's topical.
All right, so to the question at hand, RJ, is St. Patrick's Day over? Should we not celebrate the saint? Do people not go to church enough? What you got? What is it?
That we don't need a holiday to drink and eat. That's all. They don't need an excuse. We just do that. We just haven't
Right.
done it because
But
we
We have one though. Is it bad that we have one?
It's bad that we have a Columbus Day. Yeah.
Yes. God, I'm torn on it. If we should absolutely go buck on Columbus Day, because I feel like to do it and then also saying like a lot. To do it and also I don't know, say it burns man's image and effigy.
Oh, Guy Fawkes it.
Yeah, if we Guy Fawkes it and throw my man's name through the mud, even more than it is, wouldn't that be a good thing? Wouldn't we all find that truly beneficial?
Although I think there's already a fairly strong movement going on of the First Nations and Native Americans taking that back.
They call it Indigenous Peoples Day now. There's a pretty strong movement.
Yeah, and
toward it.
I think I'm going to throw in my support on that as opposed to Guy Fawkes and Columbus. And we can pick a different day, Guy Fawkes and Columbus. I'm just not sure what's the it's a lame day.
Yeah, but and that's what I'm saying. Like, not necessarily that drinking needs to be at the forefront, but it seems like a prime opportunity to do that. School's out, banks closed. Let's throw a party.
I can confirm there is a lot of drinking involved in Guy Fawkes Day. And fireworks.
Yeah, so we burn the man in effigy and drink.
But you're not well, you
don't.
don't burn the effigy so much anymore.
No, this is the new Christopher Columbus holiday. His drink holiday. We can go ahead. Yeah, I think we need the drinking holidays are like Ron said, just keeping track of themes for the party. For the drinking day, it's like, okay, this is the Green Dance drinking party. It's just a calendar of what themes we need to keep track of.
I guess we could do something else with the day, but you have the day off, and if you can throw a parade, I think that you should. I feel like this is.
I've been in a few parades,
About Columbus Day.
and they suck.
I think
I'm just gonna say it. There's a lot of standing around. Nobody's sound works well. It's either too cold or too hot. People are stupid. There's nowhere to park.
you're right.
Just like this podcast.
Oh, it's too. Yeah.
Well, I'm here for
I had to
me
circle
on
the block
that.
10 times before I got spot in the podcast.
It is too hot in here.
Ooh, I'm telling you.
This sun is devastating.
And if
Sounds
the
awful.
I was about to say if the comments or anything, it's like the sound is all over the place.
Nowhere to Park would be a good name for a podcast.
Dang it.
Noam, you're on it.
Yep.
Give us the details, and we'll in a date and time we'll be there.
That's the spinoff. We just talk about all the places where it's really hard to park for like an hour.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
currently that's like Walmart and Lowe's and Costco and Sam's.
I don't know. We were beta testing it right now.
I just was giving you some content.
There's this furniture that I like to go to that's around where one of us stays, and parking there is terrible. I have no idea how they figured this out. It's pointing in the wrong direction. It's slanted, and it's also small. That's been our taste of the Patreon podcast. What's it called? No parking allowed. Parking spots off limits.
No. Hey everybody, thanks for listening to Nowhere to Park episode 0. If you'd like to subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and you too can become a Patreon member and get access to exclusive other episodes of our podcast that we make up on the spot.
You know where you don't need to
also,
park
if you
your bed.
subscribe-
Make sure you
Yeah.
subscribe to Pastor Mattress so that you can always get in there onto. I don't know.
Also, if you subscribe to the Patreon, I'll DM, do a Vimo, not Vimo, what is it? Zoom.
Oh, that's
Whatever
right. We need
this
to do
is.
our football themed RPG.
Yes,
That's absolutely a thing that we should do.
That thing that we hatched at that awful sushi restaurant you made me go to.
Yes. Yes, it's exactly that. You have a great memory. But as far as like all the gag things that I suggest that we never do, or even not gag things that I suggest that we never do, I feel like that's a really good once a month idea. Go out there and just pretend to be we do it week by week, right? So there's gameplay, and then there's the front office moves and the non-game moves or the off-season moves. Cool, I'm writing this down. Glad everybody's in agreement.
Well, I mean, if we did do it, we would also have to have like all the crazy like gossipy stuff that happens behind the scenes that has nothing to do with the football.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what makes basketball so great.
I mean, that's half of the reason why the draft is a big deal. Is there's a bunch of people think that they should be the ones making these decisions.
We can have at least a half a dozen random drama charts.
Yeah, I'm gonna figure out how to turn this into a game. Because as I recall, the hang-up was licensed material.
Well, I think at least for this, we could use a little bit of theater of the mind. We can custom build something. Everybody here is either a good enough game player and/or storyteller and/or writer to make it go.
I
love my group; they're so smart.
What would our like character classes be? So
Fighter, wizard, cleric, rogue.
Offensive lineman.
Technomancer,
Offensive line. No, offensive
blade
line.
runner.
Golly.
offense, defense.
Okay, so
Xenomorph.
I am in the midst of a rabbit hole digging into the Atlanta Crackers. Okay.
I'm sorry, say again?
Yes, exactly. And then the reason I'm bringing this up is not because the Atlanta Crackers are such a big deal, though I do enjoy finding out more about the Atlanta Crackers, which was, of course, a white baseball team. There are the Black Crackers that played
This is turn of the century stuff, right?
that played in the Negro Southern League.
Okay.
Well, the Atlanta Crackers played all the way through the International League until like 1962.
Gosh. Somebody send me that jersey.
Yeah. I found the T-shirt, and I've not added it to the cart like 9 times. Says Atlanta Crackers.
Just save for later, save for later, save for later.
Like I mean, there's a flannel jersey for the 1957 home jersey that's $210.
So, I mean, is this one of those situations? Like, is it what I'm thinking of, or is it a situation like the Cleveland Browns or the Green Bay Packers, where the name just kind of came into business because I don't know, there's a bread and snack company that just wanted to support a
A
baseball
cracker
team.
plant, yeah.
Firecrackers. Yeah.
That could have been so much better.
It's good. All right. Here's what I learned. The story is the thing.
Yeah.
And I love a double. I love as many entendres as
But
you're
you know,
willing to give me.
I'm saying the Crackers won 2 Dixie titles.
Champion.
Okay, quickly before you advance the story, what's everybody's favorite cracker? Mine is a Triscuit.
I love Triscuits.
Premium saltine, most versatile in existence.
Uncle Cracker.
Solid pick.
Do you guys remember the band Cracker?
No, not at all. Sounds very familiar.
Look
Were
about
they like an alt like Creed, or Nickelback style band?
No, they were kind of an alternative band from the early '90s that came out of sort of post-punk camper van Beethoven. Anyway, it's all music history now. But if you heard like 2 of their songs, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I probably heard that like on alternative radio in like the mid '90s or something."
Fair enough. That's an era of music that has truly escaped me.
That was from whenever. That was an era of music when I didn't pay attention to artist names, song names, or album names. So you're probably right. I probably have heard a song. It's like, oh yeah, no, I know the song.
They had that song called "Low." I was like, "Being with you, girls, like being low. Hey, 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 like being stoned."
Oh,
And that's
Oh yeah,
I
no,
heard.
I've heard of Cracker.
thank you for that hook delivery.
Yeah,
I have
heard it.
now.
In practice.
This isn't me doing research. I already had it pulled up for some reason. But if you look at their Spotify spins, number 3 has 1 million plays. Number 2 has 2 million plays, and Low has 22 million plays.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a hit. That's a one-hit wonder.
I think they had like 2 hits.
Spotify doesn't.
Spotify doesn't think that.
Spotify didn't get the rights to the second hit.
So did the Atlanta Crackers, their legacy, did they do anything other than just be just an explosive brand of baseball?
They get to
No.
claim at least one Hall of Famer.
Central Page.
Negative.
Okay. That's my only guess.
Okay.
Only
Hey, guys,
baseball player
no,
now.
by the way.
Wait, I'm sorry, I know 2. Ty Cobb.
No.
We have to go.
Or Hershiser.
You do? You do? All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good place to leave the podcast.
All right, be safe.
Shout out to Blue Moon Cafe for pork tamales with poached eggs on them.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
Curbside delivery, of course.
That's right.
Oh yes.
Keeping it safe.
All right, guys. See ya.
Bye.
We are coming up on an hour of this trash audio.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys want to add any more?
I have one question.
Okay.
What is the kind of food that you cannot bring yourself to eat takeout? Mine is sushi. I've been thinking about it ever since Ron brought up since you brought up the time Ron dragged you to a sushi restaurant. I miss sushi. I'm just gonna say
Wait,
it.
what I do before I answer that question? What I do? What slander have or libel has
what
been
you've done.
put forth against me?
You know what you did.
Yep. Leave it there.
I did have a thing.
Go ahead.
It probably won't take very long. So, So with everyone, not everyone, of course, but with loads of people wearing face masks out and about to do their business, and the homemade customizable face masks, which I have seen some, like, it's kind of become a fashion thing. And I have heard people comment of like, oh yes, this face mask is so cute. The homemade ones, of course, not the plain regular ones. But recently, let's see, did you guys see the Confederate flag mask that the I think it was Michigan State Senator wore? Yeah.
He said that it was not a Confederate flag.
He said it was not, yeah.
Which, I mean, technically it's a mask, so he's right. So everybody should get off his back.
It is. Oh my god.
Well, but like if you go further into the article, his official statement at first was like, our kids should know what that flag stands for, even though it's not really Confederate flag. And the interviewer was basically like, well, what do you feel like it stands for? And apparently he just like got into this weird circular sort of thing. It's like, well, it stands for the Confederacy.
Right. What is the Confederacy?
It was very strange. He completely threw his wife under a bus. And was basically saying, well, my wife made it. So
Trudy made it for me. It's not my fault. She dresses me.
I don't know what it is. My wife made it. So I just wear what she tells me to.
I don't know. It was just I thought it was very interesting.
That's the only
with the
response
face
that
masks becoming fashion and kind of I guess getting political
Who the
with
hell
them.
sounds like a Karen? According to the chat.
We don't have time to unpack that one, and we're not going to give that one our time. Thank you.
Wait! Before we shut it down, I want to answer your takeout question. Sweetmeats, brain, and eyeballs. I'm not going to order those off any takeout menu. Other than
Ron,
that,
something that you order normal.
I have to go with Ron G. Carboiled
Normally.
oysters sound not like something you should go for a takeout.
More nonsensical stuff.
That wasn't nonsensical.
Eyeballs and brains is nonsensical stuff because he wouldn't order that sans no quarantine.
Yeah, so I guess I have no limits. If you want to bring it to my door, I will eat it.
So where do you get sushi takeout then? Let's be real.
I'm going to end this podcast.
Oh. All right, Ron, I'm going to call you.
Walmart. There we go. Talk about it. Walmart. Oh, that's right. Costco sushi. There we go. Costco sushi.
I love everybody. Please be safe.
Don't order chitlins online. Bye.
Do not do it.